This is Dan Joseph, and in about 2 minutes, using 4 graphs, we're going to explain why steel tariffs are pointless. This first graph compares steel industry employment, that's the orange, with steel industry production, the blue. As the orange shows, there was a very steep drop in steel employment, down 85% since 1960. But as the blue line shows, production is actually fairly level, down maybe 10% since 1960. The divergence of the trend lines really tell the story, which is that we can make 90% of the steel we used to make with 15% of the people. A huge increase in productivity, mostly due to technology. The graph is pretty strong evidence that productivity, not imports, has been the driving factor in steel employment. This second chart focuses on a key aspect of that last one. Of the roughly 500,000 steel jobs lost since 1960, 90% were lost before the year 2000. Only 10% since 2000. So the steel industry transformation was mostly completed 20 years ago. Can a tariff today really impact trends that had their impact 2 decades ago? Not likely. The next graph compares global steel production with imports. As the blue line shows, production has actually tripled since 1980, a huge increase. But as the orange line shows, the percentage of steel that is imported globally has only grown modestly from 24 to 29%. The gray line shows the net import trend in the U.S., which averaged 17% in the 1980s through the 2000s and has risen only modestly to 19% this decade. Again, not a surge in imports, and in fact, lower than the global average. It is difficult to look at this data and conclude imports have played a huge role in steel industry employment. Finally, this last graph is just another way of looking at employment and production, with consumption included. You can see the same broad trend, employment plummeting while production and consumption relatively constant. The key to this chart is the vertical yellow bars, which represent time since 1960 when broad import restraints have been used to help the U.S. steel industry. As you can see, trade restraints have had no significant or lasting impact on the broad trends. So why should this time be different?